Welcome, you guys. We are here today with some tutors. I'm going to say I'm just in awe and inspired of these tutors because they don't allow things to stop them from doing things that might in the beginning seem hard. Now, a lot of times people, when they think about blogging, they think, oh my gosh, I don't have time for it. I'm not a writer. Like all these things that come like pouring on out at us. But these people did not let excuses or anything like that stop them. You're going to get to hear their story and so much more. So excited for you guys to be here today, and feel free as you're joining us to leave any questions inside of the chat that we can bring on into the conversation, and also introduce who you are and where you are from, because we like to just get to know who you are a little bit more. Suzanne is our like blogging goddess, right? Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, she doesn't like
she's a goddess.
Yeah, she doesn't like it when I say things like that, you guys. She doesn't, because you know what? She's also very humble, and that's what I love about Suzanne. Is she's a very humble human being. And I remember the very first time I said, "I see you as, I see in you being a great blogging, tutor blogger, tutor blogging coach." And she was kind of nervous in the very beginning, but you guys, she's turned out to be a superstar, hasn't she?
Yep, indeed.
Yeah, just amazing. So Suzanne, I know that we are here to celebrate everybody who has joined us on this call. Tell us a little bit more about these tutor bloggers and how they're on fire.
Okay. All right. Well, each of them actually won the Tutor Blogging Rockstar Award. So I just want to explain that we have in the Blogging Challenge 2 levels. The first level is that 3,000 word level, and then the second one is that 6,000 word level. And so we have here with us Sammy Bohannon, and she's a reading and writing tutor. So she went over that 6,000 word mark, and I know she got over 9,000. So let me double check the number. She wrote in 1 month 9,687 words.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah. Kudos to Sammy. And then we have Anjana here. Anjana actually wrote even more. She's got the highest level. She wrote 9,784 words. They were neck and neck.
Nice.
And Anjana is the founder of Become a Math Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
And she teaches online mathematics and test prep.
I love it.
And then we have Elaine Lingard, and Elaine has been with us forever. She started in the blogging course when it was just a course. The first time I offered the course, which I think was in 2018 or 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And she has now won this Tutor Blogging Rockstar Challenge 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Which is since forever when we started this Tutor Blogging Challenge. And so she had the over 6,000 word mark. She had 6,538 words, and she teaches English and math and it's primary and secondary students.
Hmm.
And then finally, we have here Maria Paletta. And Maria really surprised me because Maria started off and she was doing that lower word level challenge, the Tutor Blogging Stars, so 3,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
And then halfway through, she reached the 3,000 word limit. And so she just kept going and she made it to become a tutor blogging rock star.
Wow.
I know. That was huge. I was so excited. And she wrote 6,348 words in a month.
That is amazing. Well done, you guys. Now, why does word count really even matter? Tell us about that, Suzanne.
Well, because you want your blog posts to actually have a lot of good content to it. And one of the ways in which Google measures that is actually by the amount of words. And it's also how our readers judge us. When they come to our blogs, they want to read something substantial. And so they're looking at posts that are at least 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's getting even more and more. So for somebody to be able to write 3,000 words in a month, that's a great blogging accomplishment when you can write that for your blog post, because it's maybe once every other month, every other week.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. And then the 6,000 word count, I mean, these are people who just can go on a really great routine. And they could do longer posts every other week. They could do posts every week. They've got a lot of flexibility. And like I said, blogging is really a great way to be found for your business, because you're drawing people to your website and you're showing them your expertise and a little bit of your personality and how you can help them.
Yeah. And a lot of people think that when I create a website, like people will just automatically find it. And they don't realize that's kind of like saying I built a store in my town and I just expect people to find it. I'm not actually going to point them to it. I'm not going to put it inside of Google My Business. I'm not going to, I'm not going to do any of those things, right? I'm just going to expect them to find it. Like there are things we have to do online to be found. And writing a blog is a great way when you're writing blog posts that your ideal client would want to read. You are then pointing them not only to your blog and your content and your expertise, you're guiding them to your website as well.
Exactly.
Which is fantastic. And I think the hardest thing when it comes to writing is getting started. And you guys have found that, like, have any of you guys found that as the more that you write, the easier it is?
Yeah. I think I realized that at one point.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, like your fingers, does it feel like your fingers just all of a sudden have a mind of their own and they're just typing? Anybody else like that? Yeah. Like, that's what, literally, it's just, all of a sudden, like, people always ask me, like, Joanne, how do you write so much and how do you get so much done? I'm like, I just allow my fingers to do the typing. Like, I'm able to get out so many emails because I just get on into it and I just start typing and I start talking to the person that I want to be able to talk to. And our blog posts are very similar as well, right? And it's just a matter of getting your thoughts down on paper and then organizing them in a clear way so that our reader can follow it as well and it's not on a tangent. But it just really is a matter of just getting started, and I think that can be the biggest stumbling block for a lot of you guys. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about each of your journeys as you've gone through this process, and what was your experience, or what were some like aha moments that you had as you were going through this process. So we're going to start with Sammy. Sammy, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you tutor, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Okay. I am Sammy Bohannon. I'm from a very small town in Kentucky, in southern Kentucky, and I tutor reading and writing.
Awesome. All right. So tell us about, what were your thoughts about blogging before you started blogging?
So I'd already started a blog, but I was not doing a great job of keeping up with it. And I was only putting one out every other week. And I was doing it on Thursdays. I'd find myself late Wednesday night being like, oh, I really need to get a blog post ready for tomorrow. and just kind of scrambling to get it done. And it was very stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be like when we like start putting this on our mind and then all of a sudden you start getting busy with clients as well. And it just kind of becomes like background stuff. Like, well, maybe I'll get to it when, like sometimes we have like that deadline. We're like, all right, I'll get it done this week, or that's all right, I'll just skip this week. But so what was your experience as you went through the blogging challenge? What was your experience like?
So Suzanne suggested that you keep a tab open on your computer and you write 10 minutes every day. And I started doing that, and I found like writing has always been easy to me when I actually sit down and do it. And I found that I was able to write almost 500 words in 10 minutes. So I just started doing that 10 minutes a day, and that's how I made it through the challenge. And I've continued that, not as much as I should have, but I've continued that quite a bit, just so that I'm not getting up and staying up late on Wednesday nights trying to get my blog post ready for the next day. So it was very helpful advice, and it was a great experience to sit down every day, just 10 minutes. I mean, it was no time at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you realize that, like, if I could just be consistent, we talk about like the compound effect, those of you guys who've hung out with me for some time now, but the compound effect says it's all about consistency. So if I just take 10 minutes every single day and write for my blog, that makes a bigger impact probably too. And you're probably able to write better because of that versus kind of like the night before, like, oh, I got to get my paper done before I turn it in for school, right? And get that grade or whatever it is. And so did you find that kind of happening for yourself, Sammy?
Oh, definitely. I had more time to go back and review and to ask other people to look over it and to really edit everything.
Yes, and she's got some really great tips for editing, doesn't she?
Yeah.
What was your favorite editing tip that Suzanne gave you?
That Hemingway was very helpful for me. It was a program you can put your things into and get tips on. So that was very helpful.
I love it. My favorite tip that I share with everybody that came from Suzanne is read it backwards. That's like my favorite tip, like, because then you're taking a look at it from a different perspective. Like, does that make sense? Or did I start my sentence with it instead of like actually telling people what it is? Or those like simple little things that you don't really think about. Or, it sounds right when you read it from the beginning to the end, but then when you read it backwards, sentence by sentence, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that sentence doesn't sound right. Like it kicks up a whole different level of understanding. And you guys, because Suzanne is an academic writing coach, it doesn't mean that blogging was easy for her in the beginning, but she's got some pretty kick butt ideas out there on how to make your writing great. I love that. And she doesn't like it when I talk very highly of her, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. I love Suzanne. She's one of my favorite people.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
And we've got Maria. Maria, tell everybody who you are, what you tutor.
Well, I come from an ESL background, and I taught a lot of reading to my students. And, the blogging, I always loved to write, but the blogging just kind of clarified for me that I did love to write, and I do love to teach reading to my ESL students. So what came natural to me was just writing about my experiences in the classroom with ESL students and some tips that would really help them and get them further along. It is every day I set a timer, like Suzanne had said. Just wrote down. It wasn't anything, creative. It was just my experiences and my knowledge of the subject that I had over the years, and things like that, tips and tricks that I knew had worked with my students in the past.
And I think those stories are so powerful. It's an age-old marketing strategy is storytelling and sharing the stories of your life, because it's way more interesting to read the story about your experiences with working with your ESL students than it is for me to read the resume portion of your bio, right? For me to be like, oh, I went to this school, I taught this many years, I've, like that kind of stuff is like boring. But when you tell me a story, I'm automatically engaged, and it hooks people in. So I'm glad that you were able to really start discovering some of those stories as you were blogging, because they definitely
I mean,
work.
some of them were funny too, because ESL students make lots of funny things.
Yeah.
Funny phrases. So.
Oh, for sure. Especially when and I even think about it too. Like when I speak another language, I tend to want to use the same rules in English and apply them to Spanish or and it doesn't work that way, and it comes off coming differently. So I can imagine it's probably a very similar experience. Yeah. Oh, well, awesome. So as you started doing this, how did your mindset change about the blogging process?
That it wasn't that difficult, because before I knew it, I had 100 words on the page. It was enjoyable because it was a place where I could be creative if I wanted to, and just brought me back to some of my students that made me laugh, and I don't know, it's just
reliving those stories.
Really, it clarified for me what I wanted to do, and and that's why I had signed up for the reading interventionist, because the big piece of my teaching was reading. It was a big eye opener.
Yeah, and that does make a difference. Like all of a sudden you get clarity sometimes from writing, don't we? That's why a lot of people there's actually writing therapy, right? Like where people will write out things that's happened to them and try to sort through some of those kinds of things. But even with our own journey, a lot of times we start off and we don't have the clarity that we need in order to, propel us forward. And I think that can really help. Writing things down definitely helps to add that clarity and bringing it. Now, you guys, we've heard from two reading ESL tutors. Now we're moving on over to our math ninja, Anjana. Anjana, was writing naturally your thing before you got started with this? Would you consider yourself a natural born writer?
No. Yeah.
He's honest.
Yeah, being very honest here. So give me a math problem, I can do that. But yeah, it was so to be honest, what led me into blogging was I was tired of repeating the same thing over and over again to different parents. How do I go about tutoring? Or sometimes they'll be like, oh, you also teach computer science. I didn't know that. And I'm like, okay. And then they will start asking me question after question, how do I go about, what do I, or some kind of basic questions, what's the difference between this AP computer science and the other AP computer science exam, or tell me more. And then every time I keep typing the same thing over and over again. So I'm like, okay, I think it's time I start writing a blog about it, just to make sure I have a compilation of all of the questions that parents have asked me so far. So that was one of the primary reasons that brought me into blogging. And then the other thing is, of course, I think I got found. I got a call from a parent at Lexington, and I have no clue how they got my contact, but they said they found me on Google. I'm like, okay, well, if you say so. So yes, but I think they actually discovered that I'm also able to teach computer science, because there were so many parents who told me that, oh, we thought you were only doing math, because that's probably how my name is too, right? Like a math ninja. I don't say computer science ninja there, but yeah, when I started writing blogs about how to make sure you get a 4 on a computer science exam or a 5, and then provided tips and tricks there, I think that was giving them more making me sound more genuine, I would say, because I think parents started okay, she actually knows her stuff. So that was right. But to be honest, blogging was something that didn't really come natural to me. There were so many times I stopped, and then I was like, well, other people have already blogged about it. do you think a difference if I'm going to write about the same topic, or would you think like it's like plagiarism, like I'm going to take content off there? What would people think? I kept thinking like that, like what will people think, or will they be bored, will they stop reading at the fourth line? How long will they read? How long will I be able to capture their attention? All of that was going on in my mind. But then, yeah, it took me a while to overcome all of that because it kept holding me back every time I was typing something there. But then I was like, it's okay. It's my website. It's going to be my blog. I'm going to put something there. So, I mean, readers are going to read anyway. So, yeah, I think my husband was saying that, like, you better put yourself out there, like write something there so that people know that you're capable of teaching that. So
Yeah.
otherwise people won't even know. So I was like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and just because you're a math tutor doesn't mean that you can't share about the other things that you're capable of tutoring as well, right? We have to first start off with just letting people know, like, hey, we exist and we hear what your problems are and all of that kind of stuff. But it's amazing how just through a simple blog post like that you can let people know other sides of you. Did you guys notice what Anjana did right from the start? And this is a ninja trick. That is, start with the questions that people are asking you over and over and over again, because now it's going to be a time saver for you. Now, instead of you can start with your frequently asked questions on your website, right? Like, you can create each of those as like a blog post. And why not? Or you have a blog post and maybe you have a shorter answer on your frequently asked questions. If you want to learn more, read this blog post, right? And now you're interlinking within your website and keeping people there longer. I think that is a brilliant strategy, and it gets you found for the things that you want. So now that you've started tutoring, you started writing, you've started blogging, you've gotten the advice from Suzanne, and you've been consistent. Now, what is your thought about blogging, Anjana?
Oh, I love it. I think the other inspiration for me was Vasudha Udaman. She had done she was a Jumpstart winner too.
Yes.
And I think she's a math tutor. So how I really got inspired was when I asked her a question about some math competition. I think she sent me a link to her blog, and oh my God, all the info was there, all answers to all of my questions from beginning to end. And I was like, okay, wow. So this is actually a very nice strategy. Like, she didn't really type in the answers and I didn't have to go back and forth with her on the Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, right? So I'm like, okay, so just she led me to her blog, and then I saw all the info that I needed, and I was like, wow, okay, this is really good. So she was actually the biggest inspiration, and I was like, okay, this is actually a very nice strategy, because I think she's also on Pinterest, and then she the same thing. I just said math competition, and then she pops up, and then I'm like, okay, wow, so this is actually working. So we should get into like follow her footsteps probably. I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely going to follow her footsteps. But I think she was the biggest inspiration. I really liked the way she approached it. She said it took a while for her to get found, but I think she's consistently getting clients. So
yeah,
I'm actually amazed. Like, she has so many blogs, like puzzles and math, like cryptograms, and like, yeah, it keeps bringing me back to her website every time. So I really like it. So I'm thinking of doing something, a very similar approach.
Yeah, I love that. And sometimes we do have to see that. We have to see that other people are actually using the strategy and that's working. That's when you know you're onto something. And a lot of people, they want to try the strategies of other tutors that aren't working because they don't know what works and doesn't work. But then you start joining this community and you start realizing, okay, here are the things that work. We're going to let you know. And here are the things that don't work. We're going to let you know, and start doing those things that are going to work. And V, I call her V because I can't say her name properly. It's like Vasudha, and I say it wrong every single time. So we call her V. But V was part of our community for quite a few years, and came to every single call all and really took the information to heart and applied it and is getting great success. And I think the beautiful thing about this, you guys, is we no longer then have to play with those short-term strategy games like flyers, like going into Thumbtack and being on our phones and like stuck to our phone, like, okay, I got to respond right away. or playing the price shopping game. That one really stinks, right? When you can put yourself out there as an expert and people can find your content, they already know they want to move forward with you before they even have that first conversation. And isn't that awesome? You have more people saying yes to your services and less being like, so how much do you charge? Isn't the first question out of their mouth. The first thing I find people like asking me is they just tell me about their child and what they're struggling with. And it really isn't until the very end after I've done the assessment and the sales conversation that they even ask how much I charge. If they even ask that question, because some have already done their homework and have found the answer. Well, you guys, we also have Elaine Lingard, 3-time winner of this challenge. Woo! I mean, this girl is like just busy, you guys. Like, if you think you're busy, you are not busy. Because like, if you like listen to like Elaine's day, it's crazy. She's got 3 kids. Is that right?
Yeah.
3 kids. She has her own in-person tutoring that's like across the street from you, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then she also does the online tutoring as well. And she also has tutors working underneath her as well. And wait, you're going back to school as well, are you getting your doctorates?
No, it's my master's.
Your master's.
Doing, I'm kind of halfway through it now. So
okay.
It's a good old juggling act, I tell you.
It is a juggling act. We were talking about this before you guys got to hang out with us. And I talked about how much I love the juggling act. Like, I actually really enjoy being busy and I don't enjoy not being busy. Mm-hmm. And so like, I like being able to say like, okay, where can I fit these things that I need to get done in? Because when I have too much time in my hands, man, I waste it.
Absolutely.
But when we're busy like you, we're like, oh, this is the only time I can do it, so it has to get done.
Yep. No, yeah, that's absolutely how it is. I find that I probably have, in between getting all the assignments written for the masters and all the online lessons and the working at the centre and the admin for the tutors that work with me and yada, 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 and dealing with being mum and helping the kids with their homework, there's precious little time left. So there could be a half-hour slot between classes. Mm-hmm. And that's when I write. Mm-hmm. You've just got to grab the bull by the horns. And you were saying before about the fingers just talking. I actually find that that's what works. I tell myself that I'm writing personally to my ideal client.
Right.
And I've got this picture in my head. She's got a name. She's called Claire. And she's got 3 kids. They're different ages. And she isn't great at doing some things. She's better at others and she needs some help. And I chat away to her when I'm writing my blogs.
I love it. And that's the way it should be. Right. And I think one of the coolest things like Suzanne has taught me is really the difference in voice that we're allowed to use when we're writing our blogs. You're writing to the you, right? Like the second person. And that's not a style that's used in a lot of writing that we've been trained in, right? We're used to writing in third person. We're used to writing in first person, but that second person writing, it's not as easy because we haven't had as much experience. But once we start getting experience with it, we're like, wait a minute, I've been having conversations with people my whole life.
Exactly.
Right. And this is really no different than that. I'm just sitting there and just like writing it out and sharing it. And hey, here's what you can do. And here's some suggestions and here's some thoughts. And, and don't feel bad that you can't get it all done because gosh, we weren't all made perfect. Right. And, you can be really empathetic with the person that you're writing to. I love it.
Exactly. No, it's definitely, it's really easy in a way to treat it as having a conversation because then your writing and your ideas just flow because we don't get stinted when we're having these conversations face to face with someone. Mm-hmm. If we're talking to someone who is asked a question about our business or how we can help their child, we wouldn't be stumbling over the words then. So that's the kind of conversation I'm having when I'm writing. Mm-hmm. I'm just answering the questions the way I naturally would if I was talking to them face to face. And I find it really works. I mean, I've been a bit guilty because I'm a bit too busy at the moment to actually get my blogs up on the website. But I've got lots and lots of brilliant content just waiting to go up. It's ready to roll. Yeah, it's really good. So having these challenges, they absolutely get me going. I need another 24 hours in every day.
No. Okay, all you need, my friend, is a VA.
I do, don't I?
That's it. That's all you need. That's the next step. Because you've got the content down. Now, a VA can't write the content for you, but a VA can organize the content and get it up on your blog. Boom, done. And so, like, you guys, there's this great website for any of you guys who haven't heard of it yet. It's onlinejobs.ph. You can hire a VA from the Philippines. It's very affordable. If you start thinking about, okay, this is like a part-time position, here's how much I'd pay for this position. Another thing that you can do is you can just go to Craigslist in the Philippines, and you will find a ton of different virtual assistants who will be able to help when you're at the stage where Elaine is. Because Elaine's at a different stage than like that tutor that's just getting started. It's not the advice I would give to somebody who's just getting started. I wouldn't say to somebody who's like just getting started, you need to hire a VA. No, you got a lot of time on your hands, and you need to learn how to do these things. Elaine already knows how to do them. She doesn't have the time. She just needs to train somebody really quick who can go into her website, put it on up there, make an image, do some of those little hacks and stuff, right? So this is personalized information for Elaine, who's been in her business for a really long time, not information for the regular tutor who is just getting started. But I really do think that would make a huge difference for you. I know for me, getting a VA to help me with my social media, it's not that I'm not creating content, right? It's just that I can't always post it on all the different platforms and push it on out and like make the images and do all that kind of stuff. It's not that I don't know how to do it. It's I just don't have the extra time to focus on it, right? And so you don't have to think that you have to do everything on your own as you continue to get more students and get more clients. You can start thinking about how can I use my time better so that I can get things done that I need to get done.
Absolutely. There we go. We've got a moment of clarity for me. Thank you. That's exactly what I need to do. Absolutely.
Because you got great content. People need to read it.
I've just got to get it out there now. That's it. Yeah. I was thinking about one of the brilliant tips that Suzanne gave me. Gosh, I can't even remember if it was this challenge or one of the other ones. But I read out my blog. My poor 17-year-old, her ears must be absolutely blistered with me reading to her all the time. But I read all my content to her, and she's really good. She'll say, that makes sense, that's really good, or I think you need to change this, Mum. So she's very, very good. And it's also good for me because if I'm reading it, I'm spotting the mistakes as I'm reading it aloud. Mm-hmm. So another good strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't she's just filled with such brilliant advice?
She is. Mm-hmm. I'm so grateful Suzanne's my friend and she's also my accountability partner. So I am really lucky I get to tap into Suzanne and her wonderful ideas on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's what I love about our community is that constant ability to really tap into each other, people who are really serious about their business and taking it to the next level. And for those of you guys who are like, I'm kind of interested in this whole like blogging challenge thing, and I'd like to be able to learn more about that. What we have at the end of October 25th, Suzanne and I are doing a training on how to continue to blog for your business, even if you don't consider yourself a writer. So even if writing ain't your thing, all right, we can help you with making it your thing. You've heard from some other people in here. They're like, yeah, well, I didn't. We've heard really from everybody. Like, I don't really have the time, but I make the time. I'm not a writer, but I do it because I've seen other people doing it and it works for them. And now I'm getting found by people from from places I never expected to, right? And I've gotten clarity in my business because I decided to write. All these different perspectives and all of that. So if you want to come and join us for that, Beth is going to put a link. I think I still have the link on my computer that is saved on here. So let me see if that works. Yep, sure does. You can sign up and join us for that webinar. So October 25th, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Click that link so that you guys can learn more about being a blogger. It doesn't cost anything. It's a free webinar. We will share more at the end about her blogging course that she has and about the blogging challenge and how you can take part in that if that is a direction that you want to go. I find for me, you guys, accountability is like queen. I'm going to say king because we're all girls here. It's queen. Am I right? Like, accountability is everything. It's like if I say I'm going to do something and then you're holding me accountable to it, or even like me making a goal, like I'm going to reach for this goal, or I'm going to reach for this goal, it makes a huge difference. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anybody can pipe on in. What are your thoughts about accountability and what how this challenge helped you with accountability?
I would probably want to, I think the first 1 week or two, and when I was in the challenge, it took me a while to I think I had to jump start there as well. But I was kind of I think Sammy was leading, she was way up the ladder, and I was like, okay, well, I need some inspiration there. So she was actually, she probably didn't know, but she was holding me accountable there. So I was like, okay, I think I should do some more action here. And I like the way one another we were actually motivating ourselves. And then also the weekly check-in calls was really helpful because we used to write together, and then we used to discuss topics and tips. And I think that kept me going. I used to look forward to the weekly check-in coaching calls, and then making sure that we are on track. And then I learned a lot of things how to use proper infographics in the blog, and reading others' blogs. And it was actually nice. I was not feeling very odd that I'm a math tutor, whether I can really fit into writing. But I think when I learned a lot from others. So it was actually great fun. And it made sure I was staying on track.
Yeah. It's almost like a little healthy competition, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Because you see how somebody else is doing, you're like, oh, they're killing it. All right. And it's it gets your mojo back, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. I can do it. I can do this. And you're able to see that as that public accountability. That is actually another thing that's actually talked about inside of the Compound Effect book is public display of accountability, the right kind of PDA, So it's the public display of accountability that you're able to see where other people are at because they're putting in what their numbers are for the day or the week. How does that work?
Anyone they were putting in for the week.
Okay.
And yes, Sammy always used to be leading up there. I'm like, okay, Saturday, Sunday, the weekend, I haven't done anything. Now let me and Monday I used to start writing vigorously because she would have already been up there. So I'm like, okay, I need to catch up now. Yeah, it was always catching up that I was doing there.
Do you love that, Sammy? Do you love that you're able to be her little, you were her carrot?
Yeah, I probably never told her that. Yeah, but it's time I tell her that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. It's awesome. What are some other things that as you guys started blogging that really helped you along the journey?
I think I also learned on how to make some nice infographics, improvise my skills on Canva, making better infographics. And so what I used to do is I used to read others' blogs and then see in how many seconds I lost interest. So, or what did I mainly look for in their blog? So that was something I did, trying to put myself in other shoes and To be honest, I never read anyone's blog completely. So I used to look at their infographic and read their headings like here and there. And then, so I was like, okay, this is probably what someone else will also do on my blog. So I think I started improvising there, like making better infographics and then learning how to put things together on Canva. And oh my God, Canva is like an ocean. There's so much to do there. Like I get lost. I go in there and I'm like, okay, the idea is to create a flyer. And then but I'm like, okay, can I do this template? Can I create a pricing or like a brochure? Or I get distracted and go into so many other things and I'm like, okay, no, let's get back. So yeah, there's so much to do. There are so many templates there, and then there's Instagram template, Facebook template. I'm like, okay, wow. And yeah, it's always like I get lost there. So but I think I really improved. I learned a lot, like how to put keywords there, the infographic. And also again, B's blog was having the right infographic, because like I said, I never read the entire thing. Her infographic was like on dot. If there are 8 tips that she's talking for a particular competition, like math competition, she used to mention all of that in the infographic. And that was something I used to just read. But then if I wanted a little more detail, then I'll go to that particular heading and read that alone. So I was like, okay, this is how probably we should do. So yeah, I think I wouldn't have done all of this if I wasn't in the blogging challenge, I would say, to be honest. Like taking time and researching others' blogs and like thinking of myself as a parent who's reading those blogs. Because yeah, no, to be honest, no one wants to read your blog completely. Like they read here and there, they skim through it, or yeah, they openly tell me, like parents tell me, oh yeah, I saw this on your website. And like, I know I saw it somewhere. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then I'm like, okay, well, you're like me. So I think it's important to know what to put in the infographic and how to make sure your blogs have infographic there, because it's really helpful, because people only read infographic, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think too, there's so many different ways you can share that infographic too. You can share it on Pinterest, you can share it on your social media, which then leads people to your full blog post, which then leads people to your website, which is a way more fun place to lead them to your website than, hey, I am taking on students right now, click here. Right? Like it actually gives people a purpose for clicking back to your website and people visiting it, and Google likes that. Right. We like to do things that Google likes. Because then Google gives us love. We like the Google love. Anybody like the Google love? I like the Google love.
Love the Google love.
Love the Google love.
I love the Google love. Love the Google love because it saves me time advertising in anything else.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And if it wasn't for the Google love, like a lot of us wouldn't even be here right now. So I know I wouldn't be right here right now if it wasn't for the Google love. So it's really learning that Google language so that we can do it. So Suzanne, tell us a little bit more, like how can we get more love from Google?
Well, being consistent with really good content. You also want to have keywords. So for people who don't know what a keyword is, whatever you're typing into that Google search bar, that's a keyword. And so you want to be found for different keywords that relate to what you do and your topic. So that is really part of getting the Google love. And then the more you are updating your website with newer blogs and putting out better content, the more Google is going to say, hey, you're a standout blogger in that field, you know. So that's it. But it does take time. But in the meantime, with blog posts, you know, I found sharing them on Pinterest was really helpful. I was found first on Pinterest before on Google. And when anybody comes to visit and reads, then Google realizes that's something that's been shared by a lot of other people, and you rank a little bit higher.
Yeah, and that happens over time. So Google Love doesn't come right out of the gate as soon as you write your first blog post. Google is going to recognize you and put you on page 1. Nope, not going to happen. But over time, the more that you write, the more consistent that you are, the longer that people stay on your pages, the more that Google will show you love, because Google wants people to stay on Google. They want you to stay on their website because you found them on Google. That gives them more credibility that they're showing the right content to people, which then increases the amount of people who come and spend money on ads. It is all like this, like beautiful, like, I was like thinking all of a sudden, like the Lion King movie came to my head. It's the circle of life.
The circle of Google.
The circle of Google. I love it. So people that are just kind of like on the fence, they're like, I thought about blogging, but, I don't know if it's going to work for the people that I want to target, or I don't know if I want to spend that much time on it. What are some things that you would get? I'm going to actually kind of get some feedback from each of you. What would you tell that person that is kind of like, I don't know, they're just on the fence. Should they blog or shouldn't they blog? Sammy, what would you tell them?
I would tell them if they could. I mean, just think about when you're looking for information for something, the first thing that pops up is a blog. Are you going to read it? I mean, I do, and it sounds like other people are as well. So if other people are reading blogs, that's where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Maria, what are your thoughts?
Oh, it's definitely a way to get, some people to interested in your website and what you do. So it's definitely a plus.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to hurt you, right? It's only going to help you. A lot of people think that blogging is going to be painful because I'm going to have to write. Right. But I think at the end of the day, it's like when you can see what the benefits are over the pain, you realize, why would I be leaving money on the table? If I can show what I know through stories and through images and through, multimodal forms, why wouldn't I do that? Because not doing that is really leaving money on the table. Anjana, what would you tell that person who's kind of on the fence? Like, I don't know. Should I? Shouldn't I?
Okay, so yeah, I would definitely tell them to go for blogging because I'm not really into videos yet. Like some people say, you can get found by doing YouTube videos. I haven't explored that yet, but I would definitely say if you're like camera shy and kind of like that, I think Wee was telling me that the other day. She said, I'm camera shy, I don't do videos. So then I was like, yeah, that's probably, you don't have to because you're already getting found through blogging. And she was like, yeah, that's the reason why I really took to blogging. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you're kind of like me, camera shy there and like don't want to like do Instagram reels and all of that, then I would definitely say do blogging. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because it does get you help found. Like you get some unexpected calls. I got called the other day. Someone was asking me, am I hiring? And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. And where did you even see that? And then they said, no, I just saw your website and I was wondering if you're going to hire someone. Oh, yeah. I said, no, well, not yet. I'm not there yet, but maybe some other day. So I was like, and I started laughing. I was like, okay, well, you're getting calls like these. So just saying I get like parent consultation calls and all of that from different parts of the world now. So blogging really helped. Yeah. So I would definitely say go for it.
Yeah. And for anybody who's watching this and wants to send me their resume, please don't. If I'm hiring, I'll let you know. I just got one last week too of like, hello, miss. I see you on YouTube. Here is my resume. I'd like to work for you. I'm thinking, well, if I wanted somebody to work for me, I would have put out like a job, like something that I have a job listing or opening. Like, don't send me your resume. I'm not going to read it. And if I see that in the first, like, I'm not even going to open your email. I see you hiring. No, I'm not hiring. You see wrong. Oh, and the people who are like, you give me students. No, I'm not going to give you a student because I've worked really hard to do what it is that I do. And I'm not just going to give it to somebody that I don't know. So you guys, those are the wrong ways to do things. Don't do either of those things. Elaine, what would you tell somebody who is on the fence about blogging? What would you tell them?
There's plenty of ways to get your content down. You don't need to. I like typing.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy it because I can sit in I don't know, the brain just flows through my fingers, and I can work really well like that. But there are lots of apps. One that I use is otter.ai, and I've got that on my phone. So if I'm in the car going from A to B, I have this wonderful brainwave, I will just record my thoughts and send myself a note or a link, and I can go away and play with the content once it's gone from speech to text. And I incorporate lots of things like that into my blogging.
I love it.
It's a really good way to just use your time wisely, isn't it? So if you're not a big fan of typing, that's definitely a way around it.
You really are like bringing up such a great point, because there's even different websites online that, like, let's say you are the person who wants to be front and center on camera and video, but you're ignoring blogs. Okay. If you're one of those people, you can easily like take any of your videos and turn them into a blog just by having it just be a translation. And then you play with the translation. You've got the words there. Now it's just a matter of organizing them.
Right.
Yeah.
Content. Exactly.
Yeah.
Maria had a really good tip because she was using her phone too for her blogging. Would you mind sharing that, Maria?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was waiting for, I guess, my daughter or something somewhere. And I said, I have to write a blog. So as I'm waiting, I'll just go to on my phone, just go to Google Docs. And right there on Google Docs, there's like that microphone setting. And I would just speak it out, whatever was on my mind, or if I had any idea for what I wanted to write, I just would speak it out, go on to the blog. And when I got home, I looked over it, read it backwards, read it forwards. I put it into Hemingway, which was, showed me, how I could make my writing more simple, which is really, as an ESL teacher, that's what's all I did, was made everything simple. And that's what really, I guess, made me kind of like win this, because I did a lot of that. Mm-hmm. I was always on the road, and I just audio taped it.
Yeah. And I think that's really key, because you can either speak it, you can do a video and have a transcription. You can just let your fingers do the walking and the talking and the thinking and just be typing. Mm-hmm. There's so many different ways to go about this that you can find the way that's going to work best for you, and then be able to utilize it. I love it. So how many of you guys would highly suggest that somebody join Suzanne's blogging course and her blogging challenge?
Definitely.
Oh, I would definitely.
Absolutely.
Everybody here says like, yes, do it. You're
so patient and loving and sweet. So.
Yes. Don't you love that, you guys, that like we can all have our own personalities and be great at what we do. I remember when I first met Suzanne, you guys. Suzanne was the person who sat in the back of the room, wouldn't turn on her camera, and was kind of like, I'm going to be a fly on the wall.
I turned on my camera, though.
Oh, you did.
I was a visible fly on the wall.
She was a visible fly in the wall, but she's like, I'm going to take it all in. I'm going to take it all in. And then she started emerging. She went from, being that fly on the wall to the butterfly that started, spreading her knowledge and sharing and adding so much value. And I think that's such a big piece of what we do inside of our community is it's all about the value that you add, never get so stuck in your head that you're all that. No matter how good you are at whatever it is that you do, you can always be better, right? And you can always learn from the best, and you can be who you are. You don't have to change in any way. Like Suzanne is kind and gentle and passionate with an open heart, with an open ear. right? And I'm more of the like, all right, I'm the rah girl, right? Like I have like this different like personality that like brings in a whole another group of people. So you guys, it doesn't matter who you are in your business, let you shine through and be who you are. Whether it being your blogging, your videos, or any of the content that you make, don't let anybody change you and say that you should do it this way or this way if it's not part of your personality. Find the way that's going to work for you. Any other ending ideas that you would love to give people, Suzanne?
Just that if you think you can't write, like if you are carrying some bad feelings about writing, blogging shouldn't scare you off because it's not like that. You know, I was carrying bad memories. I was told I couldn't write at all, you know, and I had to really find over time different ways in which I could kind of break through. But blogging is, I think, the easiest way to go from feeling like, oh, I'm not a writer to actually, you know, writing and sharing your ideas. Mm-hmm. Just because there isn't somebody grading us, you know, there's no red pen coming out or any of that jazz, you know, and people are admiring our work.
Yeah.
Effort.
Absolutely.
Coming to us.
And if you have the fear of the grammar police coming after you, sometimes the grammar police will come after you. But you know what that means? You're getting found.
Exactly.
Right? If they found your content and they're coming after you because you made a mistake, you know what? It's almost like they're your personal editor. Go on to the back side of your blog, fix it, and then it's done, right? But it got found. And I think that's the key. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm so scared of like somebody noticing that I made a mistake or this happened. You are going to have mistakes. I have people who come to me all the time. You're a reading tutor. I never would have expected you to make that mistake. I'm like, yeah, weird. It's so weird that I'm human. Hey, like, that's so odd. I'm not a machine. Who would have thought? It feels like sometimes I'm a machine, but I'm not. No, I don't really get that sassy with people. I'm just like, thank you so much. And I move on because I'm like, yes, I'm getting found. I'm getting found. Oh, go fix that mistake, Joanne. You know, and sometimes I have the loving people inside of my community. They're like, hey, Joanne, just check this real quick. You made this little typo or this, you know, in the beginning, it was very like crushing for me. And I had to start changing my mindset towards it and just saying like, look, you are going to make mistakes. You're going to do the best that you can to make sure that the mistakes aren't out there. But at the same time, don't let anybody else's opinion stop you from getting out there. There are always going to be trolls. There's always going to be the grammar police. There's always going to be those. But there's also going to be 10 times more of the other type of people. Yeah. The people who appreciate the content, the people that are hiring you because of your content. You don't want to stop creating content because if you stop creating content, you stop getting found. So keep doing it, you guys. This is awesome stuff. Definitely join us for our next webinar. All you have to do, I'm going to show you real quick. All you have to do, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see real quick. All you have to do to sign on up is you're going to come on over to this website here. It's how to become an effective blogger, even if writing isn't your thing. It is Monday, October 25th, 11 o'clock a.m. All you're going to do is type in your name and your email so we can send you the call-in details, and you're in. That's all you got to do. We'll remind you on the day about that when it is so that you can come on in, you can join us and all of that great stuff. And you can also add it right to your calendar. I'm going to give you a link right away so that you can add it to your calendar because I know it feels like it's a long way away, but the end of October is going to be before you even know it. So definitely come and join us there. Thanks for joining us today, you guys. It's been awesome. Congratulations, all of the winners.
Yes, congratulations. Woo! You guys did awesome. You rocked it.
And keep writing, guys. Keep writing, keep blogging, keep doing it because it's helping you get found. Awesome, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see all of you later. Bye, everyone.
Cheers.
Ciao.